Welcome all. Today's tutorial topic is about SQL Server database in a Windows Docker container with an ASP.NET Core 3.1 Blazor application on a host computer. And I will show you the steps to create a SQL Server as a containerized application. And the following softwares or platforms should be installed before attempting this tutorial, and I have put a link on the description of this video. And you should have basically the .NET Core 3.1 installed on your computer, and you should also have a Docker for Windows installed on your computer. So both the links I have put on the description. So let's get started. Now I have put the Visual Studio 2019 in front of me, and before that I would like to show you one thing, that the one thing I would have to show you is that there is, in this Docker desktop for Windows, there is a whale icon over here, and if you click on this one, it shows you that switch to Linux containers, and that's the condition that we should be in, because if you are in the Windows container, that's what you are presently, which should be the case. You can switch to Linux container, and if you switch to Linux container, then it will show you switch to Windows container. So we are into the Windows container, which is the right thing. Let's get back to Visual Studio 2019 again, and I will click on create a new project, and one of my recent project templates was Blazor, which is what I want, and then click on next and give it a name like SQL Docker test or something like that. Okay, and click on create. That will take me to another window in a sec. And I have come to this create a new Blazor app, and I will change the authentication. Is no authentication. I will change it to individual user accounts. All right, and click on OK, and click on create. It will create the application. Now my SQL Docker test is up and running, and if I wish to run it, what I will do, I can either click IIS Express, or there is another one, SQL Docker test. So this is the internal built-in Kestrel server. It will launch the Kestrel server. Let's click this. Even IIS Express is also fine. It is already configured. That will also bring up the browser, but I would like to show you the internal Kestrel server in action. So it will bring up the Windows, this web server quickly. Now in the background, while the browser is still loading, you have a terminal window which says that it is listening on this port, HTTPS localhost 5001 or HTTP port 5000, and my browser is also loaded. So you have got this SQL Docker test hello world. Right, now back to this terminal window. So in order to close this, you can see that it is Ctrl+C to shut down. All right, so I will hit Ctrl+C, shut it down. So application is shutting down. Press any key to close the window. And if you like to automatically close the window when the debugging stops, you have to do like this: tools, options, debugging, automatically close the window. So I'll hit any button to close this window. Right, next thing is to bring this startup file, startup class, and I'll have to do some changes. So what changes I will have to do is, in this configure service method, I have got this services.addDB context. It's already there, and this is confirming that the SQL Server is operating. Okay, this is being used. And if you just inspect this app settings.json file, this will give you the default connection. All right, so this is the connection string, if you know what I mean. So connection string is basically giving a string to connect to the database, and this default connection is being used in the startup file, default connection, right? Now I have to make some change. I have to write a block of code below the use static files, that is the middleware. And what that line of code is, I have already have it on my clipboard just to save precious time in typing. So I have pasted it from my clipboard, and this ensures, this piece of code ensures that the any pending migrations in the entity framework is all done, right? What I mean that this code will process any outstanding entity framework migration. Now we'll have to do the Docker part. So we'll have to download a suitable Docker image from SQL Server Express. Now here, as I've shown you that my Docker desktop for Windows is already there, so I'll have to use these tools and command line. I can either use the developer command prompt or the developer PowerShell. So let me bring the developer command prompt here, and I'll issue a command which is docker pull. You'll have to pull the image from the Docker Hub, Microsoft Docker Hub, right? So that command is, this is docker pull, there's a gap, Microsoft /MSQL SQL Server. Now best is to copy it from the site. So let me just change this part from the copied. Okay, and click on enter. It will pull the image. It will take a few moments. So pull access denied. Okay, request access to the source is denied. Anyway, I will then have to change this. Now what I will do, that I will just get rid of this tag. This part is the tag after the hyphen. So sometimes it doesn't take, so I'll now hit enter, and using default tag automatically it takes the latest tag. So pull access denied from Microsoft SQL Server Windows Express repository doesn't exist or may require Docker login. Okay, so I will go for Docker login. Now this is pulling in the image. It has now already pulled in the image, so I didn't need to give this :2017 latest, but this is automatically giving me the latest image. I can verify by issuing this command, docker ps will give me the container. You can see that I have got an earlier version 2016, but this is the latest version and this is up. Okay, so I have pulled this version earlier also for another project. So it was created 8 hours ago. Okay, so now let me now give what the next step is. Now it has downloaded, and I'll now have to issue a docker run command to create a container from this Docker image. Okay, and this code is actually docker run command, and I have also got it copied on my clipboard, but I can just quickly try to type it, docker run, and in a detached mode, P for this P flag is for port, and I will actually, this is 8080 port I will use. This is the host port, and this 1433 is the default SQL port, which is now mapped to the 8080 port on the host computer. And this one, there is an environment variable I'll have to issue, and this one is taken as SA password because I will be logging in through SQL Server login, not Windows authentication, doesn't work over here. So I'll have to give it a password, say SQL exclamation EXPRE, either double S or 55. All right, so that's the password, and there is another environment variable that is env, and that one is accept EULA. So accept underscore EULA, that is end users license agreement. So you have to write accept it through this command. And then I'll just copy the image tag from here so that I don't make any mistake. Click on the top, edit and copy, and then just paste it over there. And if everything is all right, it should give us a image. Okay, port's not available. Okay, but it has run. Okay, it has created this container. This is the container ID. Right. So what I will do is I will just allocate some other port, because this port seems to be already being used. So what I will do is I will just go, I can repeat that command by going for up arrow, and instead of 8080, let me use some other port, arbitrary port. So if it is free, it will work. Say 8088. Okay, and hit on enter, and now it is doing something. You can see it takes a while to create a container, to instantiate the image, to create a container. So we'll come back again after a short while. Now here this container has been created, and this has got this ID. Now how do I verify whether the container is running? Docker ps command will run this. So let us issue this docker ps. So now I have issued this docker ps command, and you can see that this is created 2 minutes up to 2 minutes ago, and up about a minute. So that shows that the SQL container is created and it is running, and you can see the port. Just expand. You can see that this one was 8088 that I put in the code, that I put in the command. Okay, so this one is now mapped to SQL port is mapped to 88, port 88. All right. So next step will be to try to connect to the container which has been formed from our Blazor application. So for that, we need to get the internal IP address of the container. How do we do that? For that, there is a command, docker command, docker inspect. So docker inspect, and the container either full ID, which is pretty big, but if you can get by with just the first 3 letters, or characters, that is, this one is this one, or rather the top one. Okay, so this is the top one, that is the map to port 8088. The SQL port is mapped to 8088. So this is the one we are after. So this is 9FF. So 9FF, and you'll get a networks. Within this networks, you have got this IP address. So just copy this IP address. Copy. Now I have got another alternate app settings.json connection string, which will replace the application self-generated connection string, just to run the application on a container. And I have copied this one on my clipboard and I have pasted. So what the what is there is I'll have to now simply modify this part. So I'll just copy default connection. It will still be default connection, but the default connection string will completely change. So what will happen here, that it will still be default connection, and following that there is a hyphen, and source will be this one, and everything else is the same. And remember, this was the IP address I got with the inspect. Okay, and this is my database name, SQL Express container. You can give it any name. All right, so let's just indent it a little bit. And source is here, source is this one, user ID, just it takes a time to just indent it properly. And timeout is this. Actually I need to take everything in the top line. This will, there will be no closing quotes. Okay, and connect timeout will be here. So this is my rearranged default connection with the data source now pointing to the IP address of the container. Now remember, this container IP address will keep on changing. Suppose you close this application and restart the application, then the same container will be assigned another random IP address which will be different from this. So another way to do it more safely is that you can just write a local host over here with a port number assigned to it. And so localhost comma, and your port number was, just have a look at it once more, 8088. So localhost comma 8088. All right, now here again I will click this link, click this arrow, SQL Docker test, and it will again bring up this SQL Server and load the browser if everything is all right, if there is no output error. Now everything has gone well, so you have this browser following this terminal window screen that we have seen earlier also. Now I will create a login. I will register myself. So let me log into with any email, say ABC, just any arbitrary email, abc@a.com, to defeat its validation. So that, and any password, say and if I click on register, passwords and confirmation passwords don't match. Now this time the password has matched, and here it says that this app doesn't have a real email sender registered. So click here to confirm your account. So I click to confirm my account, and now I will log in with this credentials. So log in. So email and password was okay. So now I have logged in with the email address. It's fine, fantastic. And this is on the container actually, right? Now finally, let's access directly the container and list all the databases that exist. Okay, so if you remember, the first three characters of the container ID was again 9FF, but if you're not sure, if you've forgotten, just go back up here and you'll see that this ID, the first three letters are 9FF. Okay, when you have given docker inspect 9ff. So 9ff was the first three letters. So the command for that is copied in my clipboard again. So this is the docker execute command. Execute IT, and I stands for interactive and T switches for sudo tty, sudo terminal. Okay, and now if I hit enter, it came up with this terminal, right? And then it's just an empty terminal window type of thing, and I have got a command which is execute exec sp underscore, this is system stored procedure, sp data bases. Okay, and issuing this command, and then you have to issue go. So it lists all the databases. Okay, so master model is system databases, and this is the our database SQL Express container, besides master model, MSDB and tempdb. Right, and then I'll have to issue another command to see only the base tables, right? So that's also in my clipboard. So I will just copy from the clipboard and then issue this command and then go. It is giving me some error. Invalid object name Blazor SQL Express. Okay, so now I'll have to change it to the database name. It was not the correct database. Let me type it out in front of you. So select star from. Now, what was my database? That is what I was writing wrongly. This is actually the database name is SQL Express container. So just copy it from here, go up, click on this icon, click on edit, click on copy, select star from SQL Express container dot information underscore schema dot tables where table type, second line, where table underscore type equals base table within single quotes. Base table, quotes closed, semicolon, and then go. This time I have got this table name and table schema. So I select, so it doesn't give me anything. Table type, base table, go. Right. So it hasn't created. So I issued this command again, and this time it shows all the base tables, ASP.NET user token is ASP.NET user rows and ASP.NET users, which is the important table where my login details are stored. Somehow it was not refreshed in the first instance, although I put the same command, same select statement, select star from SQL Express container dot information schema dot tables, where table type equals base table. All right, go. Now, finally, if I give it a command and I can see that, ASP.NET users, what does it contain? So select star from this table, ASP.NET users table. So I'll just copy this, go over here on this icon, click on this edit and copy, and if I click go, select star from ASP.NET users. So invalid object name ASP.NET users. That's stupid. So there is another way of checking if this doesn't work sometime, is to, now this time it worked. So what I did was I explicitly changed the database context to use SQL Express container and go. Okay, so it shows that change database context to SQL Express container and then select star from ASP.NET users, and I've got this table, output of this table, and you can see that I have created this email address and the details are there. And there's another way that I was telling before I leave this tutorial, which is panning out to be pretty long. Now that table is, that other way is to connect to the SQL Server Management Studio. So I have already connected this localhost 8088 port, and I have got this database node expanded, and my database node shows SQL Express container, and in this tables you have got all the tables, identity table, ASP.NET users, and I have actually select top 1000. So I've got this output abc@a.com, the one that we created to register and then logged in. So in this tutorial today, we have seen how to Dockerize a SQL container as a part of a ASP.NET Core 3.1 Blazor application, and we have seen the process from the scratch, pulled a Docker image from Microsoft Docker Hub, and then changed the startup file, inspected the app settings.json, and then created a container image and ran the container image on the browser and checked its database and the database table data. That's it. Thank you.